Greetings, mind crafters, and welcome to another Mindcraft discussion today. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am super pumped to have this talk with you. And we've been talking a lot about the importance of being present. It's like touchy-feely, right? It really isn't. And here's the thing: is that the biggest thief in the universe of life minutes, the biggest stealer of life minutes, is being on autopilot. So not only are we missing out on our lives if we're not in the moment, but we're also, if we're not in the moment, you're running a program. I mean, like in the past, you're stuck in your old shit, and that's just the way it is. And so the very generous present moment. I made myself a few notes here just because this is like so important. Although I shouldn't say that because a lot of things are important and I don't have notes. But anyway, I made notes on this one. The very generous present moment is the sweet spot for creativity. And a lot of times we think, oh, they're creative and I'm not and I couldn't be. Sure you are. We are all wired for creativity, all of us. So here's the thing. Each and every day there's monkey chatter, the monkey mind, right? I don't care if maybe if you're a Zen monk, living in a cave in Tibet eating yogurt, but I would guess that they're still human. They must have, maybe it's like a micro amount, but they must occasionally have a little, I would think. And then they would just override it with meditation, right? But every day, the rest of us regular people have monkey chatter. And so really what we want to do is get into this sort of habit of each and every day overcoming that. Because only when we overcome that chatter can we actually be present in this consciousness of the present moment, right? The present moment and this just sort of unknown state is I guess what I really want to say. And so I want to give Joe Dispenza some credit because he inspired me on this day. And so we are wired to create. All of us are wired to create. So not just on the canvas or, starting a new business or doing some amazing entrepreneurial project, creating a product, inventing something, creating a new culinary feast, writing music, whatever. But we're also wired to create our lives, to create our own reality. All of us are. Here's the author of the script right here, the pilot of the plane right here, driving our lives. So, we're wired to create a life for ourselves that's full and rich and exciting, that brings us joy. Absolutely. The whole purpose of being on this planet is to learn to love ourselves and each other and just live a wonderfully enriched life. That is the whole point. So we want to start to realize we've got to believe in it, right? Before we can see it. And then we got to really learn how to feel the future. So just like your body follows you around, like your body follows you into the shower, the body follows you to the Keurig to make your coffee in the morning. Personally, I'm a tea person, but my body follows myself to the microwave. And, first get the water, then the tea bag, and then to the microwave. And it also follows you to envisioning your future. So you might say, oh, she's all about the present moment. Why is she talking about the future? Because I'm talking about bringing that feeling into the present, because this affects your future life minutes. So we must become very, very conscious of our thoughts. And in the cognitive psych world, which is what my doctorate is in, we call that metacognition, kind of like a sexy 14-karat word for thinking about thinking, which is kind of cool. And so we can, so when we had these, thoughts all day come in, right? So we need to take a look at these old thoughts, these old memories that have tag-along emotions coming with them, and really, and also our old stories, I was just actually having a talk with myself today about that because a little something surged up, but I said, kick that right out the window. That's old stuff, not part of my new story anymore. And ask yourself, when this happens, does this memory, does this feeling, does this anecdotal fragment of something that just came up, does this belong in my new story? Do I want this to be part of my new and improved self? The self is, we are who we are, it's not like we're changing entirely from an old self to a new self. It's more of a transformation, because we are kind of getting away from what's not working for us and leaning into what we want more of, right? More love, more kindness, more confidence, more health, more wealth. And that's a big word because that means all kinds of different things. better relationships, freedom, all of it, just all of it. Do I want this old crap and junk to be part of my new story? If the answer is no, with the old memories, old emotions, all that, then we need to work out of that. Like, let's say we have a surge of, we're cranking along feeling very worthy. Then all of a sudden, somebody from our older story pops up or contacts us or whatever. And then like, okay, ooh, ah. And not that it's that person's fault, or maybe they said nothing wrong. It's just maybe just their very presence brought back an old memory. So we're not saying it's the person we need to necessarily let go of, but the feeling, yeah, that's all from when I was 8 years old. I don't need that anymore. I'm protected now. I'm safe now. I feel worthy now. Nobody can hurt me anymore, and don't need that. Thanks anyway. Thanks for asking. And so if not, let go of it and talk back to it. So the act of becoming our new and improved best self involves a whole lot of overcoming. So that means like every day. And one of the things I love about the recovery programs, like the 12-step programs, is the different one-liners they have. And one of them is a day at a time. And most of us can handle what happens in one day with support. And obviously most days, thankfully, life is not an emergency and not even usually an urgency. Once in a while, there's a bad phone call and it could be something tragic, and then people wrap around and we can still get through it. And the rest of the time, it's not at that level, right? It's not an emergency. It's not an urgency. And we can overcome all of this chatter. And I know Joe Dispenza, gives himself a lot more time than most of us, many of us probably have in the morning. Good for him. That's awesome. He also says he doesn't use it all. He just carves it out, which is great. But he tries to, his whole focus before he actually dips into a meditation is kind of allow all the knowns to kick around. Like, I got to pay the bills. I got to check out the Zoom meetings. I got to email these people. He gets rid of all that. I'm just going to say 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I'm making that up. I don't remember how much time, but it's not a lot. And then he says to himself, okay, the knowns are all going to be there when I come out of my meditation. And I just did this today in the woods because I just woke up I wake up every day with a fast mind, but it was like warp speed, like Mach 10. And it wasn't bad. I was just really excited. But I actually said to my husband, I'll come back from the woods when my mind is clear. Don't wait for me, because it was going to be a while. I was so fast-minded. And so I did this. Like, the knowns will all be here when I get back from the woods. And I said to myself, for the next half hour, however long, I ended up staying out there a while, actually. This next time in the woods, let's just say it was an hour-ish, all that's going to be waiting for me. I don't need to think about any of the knowns, not the bills, not grading papers, nothing for this next hour. And it was absolutely blissful, and it was all waiting for me when I get back. And that was that. And so, because often we're overcoming a lot of stuff, especially when it's quiet, like when we're in the shower or we're driving. And when we're trying to break through the boundary, which we're going to get to in a minute, the out of bounds area, we're often hearing things like, when we're trying to sit still with the self, like, oh, this is too big of a risk, or I'm too old to start the business. I'm too tired to start the business. I don't have enough money. What if I have to dip into my retirement? Well, what if this isn't what I went to college for, if it's a different generation? What if it doesn't work? And what if I don't end up making money from this and I risk it all and I lose this? What will my parents say, depending on what your life stage is? And all of this chatter is all the boundary talking. It's like, picture just all like a circle or it doesn't even have to be a circle, but like a line in the sand. Like, here's the boundary or a wall. When we know what's on this side of the wall, it's everything familiar. What everybody's been saying to us, the same thoughts, same feelings, we're doing the same thing. Our families, our job. On the other side of the wall is the unknown. Don't know what's on the other side of the wall. So try to picture like little Ewok-y type things from Star Wars. And they're very cute. So I don't want to paint them as, but like little hooded creatures saying, when you're trying to go outside the boundary, they're kind of just corralling you and not even talking, with the little eyes, the little lit up eyes, right? Trying to move you back, stay here where it's comfortable, stay here where it's familiar. Even if it's not moving you anywhere and there's no spark in your life, or it's not, or the worst, it's like, miserable, but stay here because at least you know it's comfortable. Trying to corral you back in. So we must become conscious of our thoughts. Look at the old memories. I already said that. Okay, next one. So they're saying, don't leave the boundary. And I actually just had a thought in my head about, I just got back from a wonderful weekend, seeing the kid, and also got some turns in, which was nice. And so anybody who's a skier out there, you know, the out of bounds area. The out of bounds area is a really good analogy here because it's exciting and it's super tempting. And it says, if you leave the bounds, which a lot of people do, as long as you have a car waiting somewhere down the road or you polish up your thumb, it's totally okay. But they're very clear that once you leave the bounds, you're not coming back. Nobody's going to comb it. So if you get injured on the way down there, no ski patrol going down there, routinely anyway. I'm sure if you called them, it'd be different, but they're not going to see you. And so there's like signs everywhere, and there's a rope and that whole thing. So I picture this being like that. Yet it's also, anybody who loves skiing, it's super tempting. I just skied some backcountry this weekend, actually. It was crazy. I have to tell you, it was just, oh my God, it was amazing. But anyway, it's tempting because the snow is great. It's serene. It's peaceful. The trees. You also don't know what you're getting into. And part of that is also really exciting. And it's also just really good snow. And there's a lot to offer is the point. So there's all the warning stuff. And then there's the temptation. And then you don't know what's on the other side. This could be the best run of your life, but you don't know unless you do it, kind of thing, right? So that was like a really good analogy just now. And it wasn't even really super planned. Anyway, okay. And so like the little Ewok-y hooded things are saying, stay here. You'd much rather be with the suffering and the regret for all you were capable of but didn't do, or the guilt or the remorse or the blame. Stay here where at least you know what's happening. Don't dip under that rope. Don't head down for the greatest run of your life with the best snow and the cool trees and da-da-da-da-da. Don't do that. Stay here where it's all predictable. So, because at least you can predict things here. So there's like make this transformation. It's like a grace period where we're kind of jumping into the river, I think Joe puts it he says old self to new self, but really it's still the same self. We're just transforming into our highest vibe, best version of ourselves, right? And so it's from old story to new story, old story to new story. So picture the river. Once you're in that river, there's really not any coming back. So the moment we ski out of bounds, per se, just you kind of know it's going to be a little uncomfortable, right? Here comes a dip. Here comes a little cliff. Those can be fun. Just got to be careful. Here comes a good snow, but a little uncomfortable because ooh, what did I do? I just committed to something and I can't turn back. Might even be a little scary. Also exciting mixed with fear, but that can be part of exciting is a little bit of a badass thing going on, right? Like, look at me, And so the sense of there is no going back. We have entered the unknown. It's predictable. So the only alternative is to stick with the little Ewok-y things inside the bounds, kind of corralling us, saying, stay here where your thoughts are the same and your feelings are the same and everything you do is basically the same. The context might change, but your dynamics are all the same. And then you have the same life. Isn't that great that you can just be comfortable? No, it's not great. Because we also have to, the Ewoks are also saying to tell yourself, this feels right for me. But you got to ask yourself, because the authentic this feels right for me is different. You really know that. You feel it through your whole body. Where we're just kind of doing that chatter, this feels right to me because it's comfortable, like a homing pigeon going right back. Ask yourself, does it really feel right? Or does it just feel comfortable and familiar? Because they are not the same thing. So now we have become conscious, and with consciousness comes awareness, and with awareness brings a new energy. It's kind of like we're outside of ourselves, sort of, not in a weird out of body, just we are sort of observing ourselves. We kind of step out, and we can look at ourselves like, wow, I was wrapped up in guilt for way too long. Or I really held on to that grudge for way too long. We actually get super clarity about stuff that maybe held us back, or hanging out with people who maybe weren't good for us. And their whining and their negativity rubbed off on us like, wow, I didn't even realize. And now that I've stepped out of it, I know that's not working for me anymore. I'm on a new track. So the past, and realize too that when you step into this unknown, which is cool and exciting and uncomfortable, that the past will continue to try to nudge you with the familiar tugs, like, oh, come back, you know it here, All right, so I left one more note, not a lot more notes. So close your eyes and be really still. I'm not saying we're skiing on a bounce reel. That would not be a good idea because trees don't move. But like metaphorically speaking, right? We were talking about metaphorically speaking. Close your eyes and get still. It doesn't even have to be for a lot of time. It just has to be some minutes. My oldest son says it a lot. Some minutes are better than no minutes. And he's talking about, I think we're talking about the Peloton, but like some minutes are better than no minutes. Even if it's 5 minutes, close your eyes. Breathe deeply because that's an automatic reset, a neurological reset, which brings us back into the moment from next Tuesday or tonight or whenever from last month or 10 years ago. And just big deep breath and be still. And feel the emotion of where you're headed and your next authentic move. Feel it. So again, we're talking about being in the moment, right? Present, bringing the feeling of the next move to you. It's in this moment because this moment is affecting your future life minutes like dominoes. Because otherwise we're going to run the same old program and you're going to live the same old stuff's going to keep happening to you. It's just how it is. And some of it might be good. We're not saying that, but it's not going to be different and exciting. It's going to be the same old thing because we are all programmed. So we become aware of the autopilot. Remember, autopilot's the biggest thief of life minutes there could possibly be. And then once we sort of land in this place of consciousness, like where we're seeing all the guilt drag me down and that whole thing, and also seeing our gifts and our creativity, like, wow, look at me, I had that going on the whole time, I didn't even realize it. At the very second we kind of get that clarity, our awareness has become greater and our will has become greater than the programming. That's when we flip the switch. We just flip the switch, flip the script, however you want to say it. That's when now we've come out on the other side. Like we've skied out of bounds and we're loving it over there. A lot of powder, a lot of bumps. It's great, okay? And it's exciting and it's just all the whole new scenery. You might meet some other cool people out there because they're all living their best life too. And it's good. So realize that, and this is also when we begin to take our power back because when we're programmed, we're not in control there. We think we do because it's comfortable and familiar, but we're not at all. We're walking around like little clones and drones, just, thinking it's going to be different and it's not going to. So when we cross out of that boundary into this consciousness and this duality, we are taking our authentic power back. We are in the zone. And realize that each and every day, it takes intention. We are overcoming. And if we do that well, you're not doing it, you can't really do it wrong. You're doing it efficiently, let's say. We get better and better at it, which is what happens when we practice anything. We're overcoming. It takes less time. You do that in the morning, we're overcoming the thought chatter. The rest of your day is going to go really, really well. You're probably not going to road rage as much. You're probably not going to have as many, issues with pettiness because you left all the known stuff behind and you've tapped into your authentic self. It doesn't mean stuff won't happen here and there, but it is going to go better than if you did not overcome the monkey chatter and dip within and be with yourself quietly for 15 minutes. So then it's also when we get into seeing the synchronicity. My good friend Tom did his dissertation on the green lights. I love listening to that guy. So when we are tapped in, tuned in, turn on, as Abraham Hicks would say, we are open like a catcher's mitt to the green lights. Go this way, go that way. Things just start happening and showing up. Somebody, you're like a stranger. I have great experiences with strangers. They'll just say something. You're like, oh my God, I just met you. How did you know that? Like, that I needed to go there, that I was. You just have these experiences. You're just like, oh my God, wow. And then, somebody just calls and we're looking for somebody to do a project and this, and I thought of you, and you're like, that just feels like it came out of left field. But it didn't. The universe is just landing stuff in your lap. And let me tell you, I'm in that now. I would say it's like a faucet I can't shut off, but I don't want to. It's just like so much stuff. It's just so much exciting stuff is just landing in my lap. And the thing is, in order to become limitless like that, we've got to go within. We win from within. So that's it. If we don't kind of get still and be present and go within, we're running that same old program. Awesome. So be limitless. Watch for the green lights. Yeah, live in your highest vibe self on that high flying frisbee. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from Northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.